Hello, everyone. It is I, the Reverend Godfather, the main host and frontman for the Long Coat Mafia podcast, the internet's most hated mafia-themed geek podcast. If you wish to check out any of our episodes that we have available, please check the links in the description down below. And please keep in mind, depending on what platform you're viewing this on, if you like what you see, please hit that reaction button down below, whether it be the like button or the reaction button down below. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, please hit that like button or the subscribe button. If you're watching us on Instagram, because we are recording for that, please hit that follow button, because we are trying something new on here on Instagram. And so if you have any questions, comments, or what have you, please leave them down in the comments down below. And as the title suggests, it's kind of a mail call / unboxing. And what we got in the mail is pretty much this. That's right. It is our pod decks that we put in from the company known as Pod Decks. Now, to kind of explain what pod decks are, is the best analog for it is Cards Against Humanity, because that's the best comparison I can think of to make that most people might be familiar with. And for the most part, let's see if they got my order correct. And as I'm opening up this particular mail call to see if they got our order right, and I'll explain what pod decks are. It is pretty much there for podcasters like myself / new podcasters, because my show has been around for 5 years, and it's pretty much to help us have new ideas for shows or have questions for guests, because pod decks does offer in a way different types of decks. They have interview decks, they have show idea decks. We picked up the show idea decks and the interview decks. Let's see if they have, as you saw, I opened it up on the back side of the envelope. They have, wait, you should make an unboxing video and tag us, Pod Decks, on Instagram. Guess what? Even though places like Loot Crate, Geek Fuel, etc., kind of offer the same thing. But Pod Decks, if you're watching, you don't need to suggest that or give us that idea. Most of us know that we should be doing an unboxing or a mail call episode in regards to getting your product. Now, before I reach in and take out the decks, I want to say this. We ordered, as you could probably see on this, it says priority mail 2-day shipping. Or actually, it says priority 2-day. We ordered this Saturday, October 17th. Saturday, October 17th, about 9:30 a.m., give or take. We received that it was kind of an email saying that it was shipped out maybe about 10:30, an hour later. Now, Saturday, we got this in our hands Thursday, October 22nd. That's not today. That's, to me, granted, that's not Pod Decks' fault or their shipping department's fault. What I'm complaining about is the fact that it's 2-day. Even if Pod Decks sent this out on Monday, I should have had this in my hands Wednesday. Not Thursday, Wednesday. So that's, and it's not Christmas season. Meaning it's not between November 26th and December 24th. I know some of you out there, well, the pandemic. Still, it came within 4 days. If it was the whole aspect of the pandemic, it should have been longer than 4 days. But still, 2 days should mean 2 days. So let's open it. Let's reach in and see what we got. See if there's anything special in here. Whoa, what the hell? We got a few extras in here. I just ordered, okay, they gave us 2 interview decks. I don't, now, let me just say this. I thought there was going to be 2 decks in here. They gave us 3. A friend of the show, Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, got herself, I think, a episode deck. That's what this is, episode deck. We got 1 interview deck, and we got 2 interview decks. Basically, actually, we thought this was, I thought this was, this, in essence, 2 of the same thing. Actually, let me put this down for a second. This is obviously, because I didn't really give the second deck a good look, but as you can see, it says second. I know it's backwards on some aspects. It says second edition. So we got the first edition and a second edition of the interview decks. And for the back of the box on the interviews, we'll read them in a second, because this is something's on the back of the episode deck. Now, what says on the back of the episode deck, it says, the episode deck contains 50 unique episode starting prompts to help you stay inspired and constantly releasing great podcast content. If I can understand if you're struggling, this might come in handy, but you should be making show notes yourself ahead of time and coming up with show ideas in regards to guests. There's plenty of Facebook groups out there in regards to help you with either ideas or getting guests on your show. In regards to that, in regards to the interview decks, put this down. These 2. The first interview deck says the interview deck contains 50 unique conversation starting questions to help you take your podcast interviews to the next level and keep your audience entertained. And the second edition pretty much says the same thing. I'm not going to reread it. And both of them have, I should say all 3 decks have pretty much the same thing on the bottom, right here where my thumb is. And right there. And it's pretty much the Instagram logo. I think it says, like, it might be made in America. I don't know. But it has the copyright information. No, it's made in China. And it has an American symbol on it. I'm not sure exactly why that symbol's on it. Now, what we also got in the envelope is this card. And it's the front part says, interview like a legend. Meet the Poddex app. And on the back, it has not just a QRC code or whatever the heck that is, and it says new decks added monthly and has the Apple Store. I'm sure they have a Android app too, but it says on the back the endless possibilities. It says endless possibilities. Poddex is the #1 tool for podcasters. We'll see about that. YouTubers and content creators to have deeper conversations, get more engagement, and take their conversations to the next level. Unlock your physical decks for free. Well, I want to say that's a good idea for those who might be on a limited budget, for the most part, like we tend to be here at the Long Coat Mafia podcast. Now, we here at the show are not afraid to spend our hard-earned money so you folks at home don't have to. Meaning, if, let's say, because we're going to go into these decks a little bit more, we're going to tell you whether or not these are a good idea for you, the new podcaster, or an existing podcaster, or what have you. So, we spend the money, and then we tell you whether it's worth your hard-earned money, whether it's your show's hard-earned money or your actually hard-earned money that you should be spending on these. Now, we also got a couple extra things here in this little packet. So I'm always happy for extras and all that. What did we get? I think that it might be a sticker. It looks like, yeah, we got a sticker saying podcaster. Well, I'll be more than happy to put this on this little sticker if I'm able to do it on my laptop or what have you. And it has pretty much what's this? Ask me about my podcast. This seems like another little thing that we could attach to something because it's got a 3M adhesive thing to the back. So that's kind of cool. I like that. I like that aspect in regards to having this and something that you could put like business cards on. So I can't fault Poddex for giving us this. Now it also gives us like it says there's a little thank you business card in here, and it's from the Poddex person. I guess that's the head honcho behind Poddex, and it pretty much says I like you, Travis. And it says join the Podcast Builders Club, and it gives their Facebook page, and it says follow me on Instagram, and it gives their Instagram website, and it says here's 10% off your next order, and so that's a good coupon. So if we like what we see, or they put out something extremely interesting that we have to pick up for the show, we'll do it. So even though if we may not like what they put out, that's always good to handle, so we could have something to kind of hate on in a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way. And it says here, we also get powered by Poddex, and that's this pretty much business card. And on the back, because there is writing, it says, I want to be your first sponsor. Become an ambassador and have your podcast powered by Poddex partners. Get a unique coupon code, and you will receive 5% of the net sale associated with that code. You'll receive some assets for marketing and scripts for live reads. You know what? And it gives a website. Listen, I'm going to take the kind of the mindset of Fact Fiend's advice, and the same for the folks that are behind that. Or Carl's, who's the main person behind Fact Fiend. I'm my own person. I as much as I want sponsorships, and this is a good idea, there's a chance I'm going to badmouth you. So if I'm going to badmouth you, there's a good chance I might not want to be your sponsor, or you might not want to be our sponsors after what we might tell you to tell everybody today. What else? And they also have, I don't know if there's another sticker. It says, podcaster gear available at poddex.com, and it shows, that's this right here. And it has several of their things like hats. So we got our own hat here, and it says podcast, and shirts that have like podcast on them, on air, and podcaster and all that. We might pick up a podcaster shirt if they got one. I can't knock for that, because I wouldn't mind having a podcast t-shirt, something like that. And it also has another interview like a legend, and it says meet the podcaster, another one for the Poddex app, and it says Poddex on the back of it is that, and it says Poddex are the number one tool for podcasters, YouTubers, and content creators to have deeper conversations, get more engagement, and take their conversation to the next level. Unlock your physical decks for free. Again, if you're not sure this is a product for you, or you don't want to spend the money but are kind of on the fence about this, and you don't want to take our opinion or my opinion in regards to this, and you want to see the decks for yourself and still want to give them a shot, this might be the thing for you in regards to getting them for possibly for free. I wouldn't say physical decks like we have right here, but it might help you, so that way you're kind of have the ideas and not really giving them the money. So like I said, we got 3 decks. I thought it was going to be just 2, and turns out we got 3. So with no further ado, let's open these up and see if pretty much the red envelope they shipped everything in is a warning or what have you, because red usually means warning or aggressiveness. So, or it means stop, caution, whatever. So let's see if that is so forth and so on. Now let me just say this for those up and coming podcasters out there. Let me say this as someone who's been doing this for a while, and I want to say, well, you don't really need something like this for the most part. If you are, depending on your show idea, there's always something out there to talk about. And you could always have if you're a solo person, even though I do most of my shows solo, I tend to get a co-host in or a guest in to talk with and so forth and so on. We just, I was discussing things, I opened up the show idea. Now, I mentioned Sasha the Princess of Darkness. She showed me a couple, I think, cards here. I wonder if this is the same type of deck she showed me. Now, I want to say this. This is a little bit tough getting the deck open here. It's not, there's no sticker on here, but it's a little bit tough getting it open. Now, I want to say that it's about the size. I don't own any Cards Against Humanity. And let me put it like this. All these 3 decks cost me $30. $30. Now, just for if you plus shipping, that the $30 cost me, that included shipping. Now, normally, if Poddex is not doing a promotion, it'll cost you $15 a deck. So, in essence, well, if you buy all 3 decks, it'll cost you about $45 in regards to. Now, stay tuned for another video. So if this is not worth the $30 or the full price of $45 plus shipping, stay tuned to a video that we will be doing in regards to something of equal value. Now, me saying that, you could also, for the same price, you could probably get 3 decks of Magic the Gathering if you're into that, if you're a geek podcast. And I'm, in essence, doing what I do in the area, and you could probably get a whole lot more for the $15. Now, this is the show idea deck, and it's about 40 some odd cards. And some of this sounds more like just a general conversation podcast. Not if you're a car podcast or general geek podcast like us, or if you're a psychology podcast or what have you, or sports podcast. This is not a good. These might not concern you. 3 silly things to avoid in life. Another one says right here. Cool, I'm not going to say the word because I want to kind of avoid certain language. Cool crap I'm using lately. Guess what? Us geek podcasters should already been doing that. Apps, products, services. Interview your significant other. Guess what? Not really. And that type of idea and interviewing your significant other might be a good idea only if he or she, or depending on their pronoun, is doing something cool, meaning that, let's say they're a race car driver, or an artist, or an author. Then, yeah, this would be a good idea. Desert Island, again, that's something that most podcasters I see do without a deck of cards. Like I keep mentioning Slacker and the Man. When they did their zombie episodes, they'd always say, "Oh, what kind of books would you have during the zombie apocalypse?" They didn't have this. They thought of that on their own. What am I struggling with this week? I'm a diabetic. I found that out this past August. I didn't have this deck. I came up with that episode for my show on my own. Link to that episode in the description down below. Record an Instagram, Facebook Live. We got that idea. How you actually got to remind people this? Why I quit blank. Again, that I already did an episode in regards to Borderlands 3, why it pisses me off. I didn't need pod decks. Let's see. Replay your most downloaded episode. I already do retrospectives on my program. For them, check out the links down below. Let's see here. Talk about your guilty pleasures. Discuss the history of your industry. I already tend to do that. Share your morning nightly routine. Guess what? Let's use one idea. This is my morning routine. taking my medication, my insulin pills. That's my morning routine. Guess what? I've got coffee now. That's right, coffee. That's right, coffee. I don't need Poddex to remind me that. Discuss a trending topic. I do that on my show. Mine's usually a news show for the most part when I have hostfuls. Would you rather with a guest? Really? I don't want the guests that I have from Earl, Jesse L. Green, Monique Dupree, some of the other interviews we've done on this show, either at a convention or what have you. Would you rather is not a good idea. Describe your perfect day. No. Share a money-saving tip. We're not a business podcast. You know what? We're in essence doing that. You might not want this deck. So you could save yourself, if it's the deal, you could save yourself the $8 or $15 if they're not on sale and doing a promotion, or the $45 for getting all 3 decks at full price. Debunk myths in your industry. I already tend to do that. But, even though that's a good idea for the most part, but most people would do that anyway. If they have more than 3 brain cells to rub together, or if they have a race car, podcast, they might dispel some myths, or if they have a particular aspect. I know one YouTuber who, she's an Irish YouTuber. She does everything like what Americans think Irish people do, and yet we don't, sort of thing, and what the misconceptions between Irish people and American people and tourists. So, we already do this. We tend to do that. 3 things I wish I had done differently. Maybe buy this deck. But then again, I'm getting content out of this. Let's see here. Live one-on-one coaching session. Guess what? Not me. We did a podcasting panel at a 4-state Comic-Con one year. You'll probably be able to find it in the following the links in the description down below. Share, discuss your favorite podcasts. We tend to do that every now and again on the show. Even some YouTubers we tend to watch. 4 things you might not know about me. Nope, skip that. Book review, my latest read. Guess what? We already tend to do that here. 3 favorite purchases this year. Nope. Carcast, thoughts on a commute. I don't think so, Jim. Record coffee with a friend, colleague. Nope. Let's see. What I learned myself this quarter. I have diabetes. Let's see here. Questions I would ask a famous person on this podcast. I would love to have a famous person on this podcast, but I don't have the several $1,000s or several $100s to get them on this show. Let's see, top 10 moments on the podcast. We tend to do that for the yearly review. Interview your biggest competitor. They will come on this show, and I'm Berkeley County's / Martinsburg only podcaster. My closest competitor or my closest colleague is in Hagerstown, and I had him on the show. My other closest competitor is Sasha, the Princess of Darkness. I've had her on this show. Come Back to the Future. Make some predictions. No. Ask Me Anything episode. Throwback Thursday. Share your most embarrassing moment. No. Most inspirational pep talk. No. 5 things I'm excited about right now. No. Interview your mom and dad. No. Now, granted, if your mom and dad was a famous author or anything like that, and guess what? My mom and dad are both dead. Now, my stepdad, well, that's a different story. He's still alive. He's a Purple Heart vet. In regards to that, he's been to a few Purple Heart conventions. He's never been to a pop culture convention like I had. Now, if I went down to Florida, going to one of the major conventions down there, if I had a press pass, I'd buy him a ticket to that event, and I'd invite him to come with me to help him out, and I would probably have him on the show and interview him, talk with him in regards to his thoughts on a pop culture event. And that is Poddex. We'll go with, in regards to this, in more detail. One of the things I saw is in industry topic gossip. We do this on the show anyway. So let me put it back in the deck. We'll probably go into further detail with Sasha, the Princess of Darkness. Now we're having issues with stuff going back in the deck because of how the deck is set up. Now let's open up one of the interview decks to see. I think Sasha only got the show idea. Now let's go with the first edition. I don't know if she picked up an interview deck because she shared with me a few of the show ideas. I was like, oh my god, and they can't be real. I was thinking they can't be that bad. Apparently they are that bad, and there's no randomness. That's all the same stuff. Again, there's no tape on these decks. As you can see, I'm struggling to get these open. Now, this is again the first edition decks. It's like, what do you value most with friends? What's your greatest regret? What's your most treasured possession? You have $100,000 to donate to or create a charity. What do you do? What belongs on everyone's bookshelf? What if you could undo one moment in your life? What would it be? What is something you like that most people don't? These are not questions I would ask most people. If you could ask one person one question that they had to answer truthfully, who would you ask? If you can instantly become one, or what? If you can instantly become one, what would you want to be an expert in? Okay. If I was like when I interviewed Monique Dupre, this is something I would not ask her because she's done so much, and we've one bad habit you're trying to get rid of. What's the worst job you had? What is your favorite body part about yourself? Really? You want me to ask somebody that? Literally, that's one of the cards. What is your favorite body part about yourself? Really? You want me to ask a female guest this question? Granted, I would have to use my discretion, but you think this is, if I pulled this card, or a female guest that I was interviewing pulled this card, it would be an appropriate question to ask her in a professional manner? No. If you had someone following you around all the time, what would you have them do? We tend to, even though there's maybe C or D list or B list celebrities, this question might not be a good idea. They already have stalkers. Some people we interview probably would have, in some way, shape, or form, got swatted. So really, this is a good idea for you? Really? For a question? What? How would you like to die? How would you like to die? Really, Poddex? Really? That is a question you want us indie podcasters to ask you? Ask our guests, how would you like to die? Really? Jesus Christ. What would you consider the most outrageous virtue? What living person would you admire? Who is your favorite hero of fiction? Really? If this deck is that bad, what are you most excited about right now? We had better questions on our show for guests, than you had in this deck here. I'm not going to bother closing it up. I'll save closing it up after the show. Now I want to see I wasn't going to open this deck, the second edition. Now I am. If the questions, there's that bad questions in this deck, I can't wait to see what's in here. Let's see what we could pull out of this deck. If they're that bad. If they're that bad. Let's open this up. Let's open it up. Jeez. Folks, if you can get these for free, then get well, I'll say this. This one's been easier to open. Let's see what's in this. First one on the bottom. What's the funniest place you ever fallen asleep? Let's see. What happened on your worst date? What would you do if you were invisible for a day? What's something you've never been able to do well? What's the funniest, most disappointing, weirdest, etc. text you've received? What things do you do every day that you wish could be automated? What's the weirdest thing you find attractive in a person? Let's see. What would be the worst movie sequel ever made? Well, that might be a smart question depending on who you talk to. Now, we've talked to a lot of independent filmmakers. That might be a interesting question to ask them. Let's see. Which celebrity chef would you like to make you dinner? If you were reincarnated as a famous landmark, which would it be? Really? That's a question? Really? What's the cheesiest movie moment or line you can think of? We've interviewed John Johnson, the founder of Darkstone Entertainment. Lots of interesting lines from his Skeleton Key series, and a lot of good lines from his other movies as well. But I wouldn't say that's a decent question. Let's see. What's the most awkward thing that happens to you on a regular basis? That's a cringeworthy question in and upon itself. What's the dumbest way you've been injured? Well, maybe this deck seems a little bit better. If you had a personal mascot, what would it be? Let's see. What's something you hate but you wish you loved? Let's see here. What's something that you've never been able to do well? If you look through one person's email without them knowing whose email would you look through? Really? That's a question. Is a hot dog a sandwich and why? Really? Some of these are idiot questions. None as stupid as the first one. What's something weird that you recommended everyone tries at least once? If you guys forced to listen to what song, what would you pick? Pickup line you ever heard dished out? Really? 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 Though that could be an interesting question for some of the female streamers that are out there. We haven't had one of them on our show, but it's something that we could probably add. If we do, we could ask a variant. What's the most cringeworthy comment they've gotten on a stream? So that could be this. Again, the second one seems to be better. Do you have any superstitions? Again, this could be a good question for the sports broadcasters out there. In regards to it, in regards to that, let's see here. How much someone would have to pay to eat a live spider? Would you rather go 30 days without your phone or entire life without dessert? Wow. Name you could think for a pet? This one seems a little less cringeworthy. Then I'm sure me and Sasha will go through these in more full detail at some point. Now let me say this. Is it overall worth the $30 we paid for this? No. No, we recommend you not picking this up. Not even as a new podcaster. One of the things a lot of the folks on a lot of the groups is like you should, at least know what you're covering first on your show. You should have some basic ideas already in place and what you should do and how you should do things. A lot of people have some good ideas in regards to what they should do. So, for the most part, this is not a good idea at all. At all. Now, for the most part, we're going to have to sew this, see if we can put this up on Instagram. But, and the second edition was easier to close up than the first two. But overall, I don't recommend this. I don't. This was a good show idea because we haven't unboxed anything in a while. We didn't need their recommendation, and Poddex, if you're watching and made it this through this far, we didn't get an idea to open it up and get your cards from you. We got this idea from Sasha, the Princess of Darkness herself, because she decided, you know what, I'm going to buy a deck and see if it's worth it. And she sent me a message on Messenger saying, "Oh my dear God, you got to see this." And when she shared a few of the cards with me in regards to this, I was like, "Oh dear God, I have to pick up a deck to see this for myself." So that's what I did. I got the idea from her, and how cringeworthy you were. And I was not. My expectations in regards to your product was that it was cringeworthy. I am not disappointed. My expectations were in essence on point. You are cringeworthy. Granted, your second edition was a little bit better, but most of the stuff in your decks are not worth it. No, and you have Halloween decks and would you rather decks for guests. Why would you have those decks? Why would people want to buy those decks? What good idea is it? What good idea? I'm going to buy a would you rather deck and ask, this high-ranking person, in regards to would you rather. No, let's say I had somebody on my show. Let's say it's the bully mayor herself on my show. I'm not picking up this deck to ask her questions. An interview deck. I'm not picking up a would you rather deck to ask her questions. I'd have questions on the ready. Heck, if I had Tin Pool on this show, not going to happen, but if I had Tin Pool on this show, I'm not using these questions. I would have questions already written down. Not from these at all. At all. Not worth it. Literally not worth it. Am I going to get my money back? Not really. Not really. But I will say this. Was it worth the money for me to rag on them and have at least another episode in regards to this? Yeah. I'll say that. There's going to be content for days in regard to this. Expect something from me and Sasha, the Princess of Darkness. Heck, we might get another podcaster on the Skype line and go through everything with like a three-way council in regards to this and just have somebody as a guinea pig. Heck, we might get Big Candy on the whole aspect of this and have him go through everything. But other than that, I am the Reverend Godfather. You just spent 38 minutes, close to 40 minutes with me going through possibly the worst idea I have ever had. This was a waste of money for the most part. If it wasn't for a deal and having the extra funds to get, I would not, overall, I wouldn't pick these up unless they were given to me. Literally. Out of 5 stars, 2. Out of 10 stars, maybe 4. That's it. Don't get them. I don't recommend these. Go to if you're a new podcaster, go to a Facebook group. There's plenty of them. No Rules Podcast group, Podern Family, the group hashtag Podern Family. There's plenty of groups out there for podcasters to help you with show ideas and interview questions and everything else. Poddex is not going to help you. Your fellow podcaster will probably help you more and give you more ideas than Poddex. not worth the $15 a deck. There's if you're a geek podcaster or have geek tendencies, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. Heck, our next video, we're gonna show you what best to waste your money on than pod decks, and we're actually going to be supporting a local business in regards to that. You know what? I'd rather pay for two packs of Death Wish coffee, which are $20 a piece, than get these. Heck, $9 a bag for Black Dog coffee. Guess what? I'd rather get 4 bags. So, again, I'm the Reverend Godfather. You just wasted 40 some odd minutes in regards to pod decks. Take care.